Hi everyone, and welcome to the Measurement and Attribution Connect. My name is Larissa Verduzco. I am a Partner Enablement Manager at Google, and I will be walking you through the content today. So let's get started. The three things that we're going to cover today are the following. First, we will go through an introduction to attribution and attribution models themselves. Second, we're going to review the uses of AdWords cross-device activity reports. And third, we're going to discuss how to get started with data-driven attribution models. And to get warmed up, I would like to do a little contest with all of you. It's going to be only 5 questions, and this is around what measurement and attribution mean and why they are important. Therefore, the next step is to let's all follow the instructions on the screen that you see right now, and let me walk you through them. First, everybody get your mobile phone because you're going to be using it for this quiz. The second step you should be taking on is opening your browser and going to the URL that is mentioned on step number 3. That is www.kahoot.it. Let me get that for you again, www.kahoot.it. And once you're there in your browser, you're going to get the screen that's on the right. It's going to be asking you for a game pin, which I will give you in a second. So once you're there, I'll give you some more time to go into kahoot.it and be ready for the game pin. So it's going to be really interesting. Later on, once I give you the pin, the game will ask you for a nickname. So just let us know your name and let's see who wins. Perfect. So I will give you the game pin now. Remember, the URL is kahoot.it. Get ready. We're going to reveal the game pin very soon. And you should be entering it on your screen. Are you ready? Fantastic. So the pin you should be entering, the number is 3183170. I repeat, 3183170. So I'll give you some time to sign up for the game, and I'll be starting to see some names pop up. Hey, Sammy, welcome to the live stream. Oh, I like this. We have somebody whose nickname is Winner. Welcome, Norway. Oh, wow, lots of people. We have 50 participants. That's great. Welcome, Damama, Sander, another Sam, Elvis, Cindy. We're all over, almost 200 people. We're at 180. This is going to be great. I love it when our competitions go big. We're over 200 participants. This is fantastic. And as I get more people, just know that this is the way it's going to work. We're going to be popping the question on the live stream. You're going to see there, but the answers, the 4 options you're going to get are on your phone. So be sure to be very attentive to the live stream and then answer the question. Warning, this is going to go really fast. So be ready. We're all over 280 participants. That's fantastic. Now, note, there is a small delay between the time I'm actually mentioning the question and the time you get it. It's small, so just be ready to select. Once we've hit 300, there we go, I'm going to start the game. So just giving you a couple of last seconds to join. Welcome, Mike Hammer and Ashley. Fantastic. We're at 307, and I'm going to start. So if you're just wrapping up, be ready. We're going to get going. Last 5 seconds for you to join. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to start. Get ready. Remember, questions on the screen. Fantastic. So we're going to start with the Google AdWords Attribution for Search quiz. First question. What number of online adults start an activity on one device but continue or finish it on another? You have 4 options: 75%, 40%, 55%, and 90%. Which one do you think it is? Give us your answer, and we will actually be having a high score at the end of the 5 questions, so let's see where it lands. We already have 200 answers. That's great. Remember, this is about speed. Go for it. Couple of questions, seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Wow, I am really happy. Most of you got it right, and the answer is that 75% of online adults that start an activity on one device are continuing or finishing it on another. That means 3 out of 4 people. this is why we cannot overlook the people that are engaging with us online and on just on one device, because eventually they're going to be carrying on the rest of their activity elsewhere. Fantastic. So let's check the results. Let's see what's up. Congratulations, Maxly.com. You're leading the way, followed by Alice, Nick, KGOM, Anya, Badania, and I Must See. Good job. Let's go to the next question. Be ready. It's going to be fast. What percentage of consumers use their smartphones to do product research? Is it 44%, 79%, 69%, or 51%? What do you think? How many people are taking their smartphones and looking for information about the product before they get it, want to know more? What do you think? We still have a couple of seconds left. This is about accuracy and being fast. So we'll see how it goes. And we have the results in, and most of you got it right. Fantastic. Good job. It is 79%. That means a lot, even most of our customers are taking their phones and looking for information when they are looking to engage with the company, with the product or service you are selling. Let's see the leader score. Momo, or Moi Moi, congratulations, you're leading. Followed by Alice, you're still there, as well as I Must See, and welcome to Ed and Pry Web to the leaderboard. There are 3 questions to go. Anything can happen in this game. So let's go to the next one. You ready? What percentage of ads that consumers identified as purchase influential were viewed on a mobile device? It's a tricky one. Think about it. How many ads do you think that people are engaging with on their phones? They actually thought they were influencing their purchase. Is it a lot? Not really. What do you think? We have already 170 people who have answered that they think they know the percentage that is correct for this question. Let's give you a couple of more seconds. Think about it. And now let's see the leaderboard. Again, fantastic. You are spot on in most of the questions. That's great. And it's 60% of the people who are looking at an ad on their phones, and then they do feel compelled to do other actions that eventually need them to purchase. So this is very important for us to keep in mind. Now, leaderboard. Alice, you did it. You're bumped up. That's fantastic. Followed by I Must See, 1 spot up. And we're welcoming 3 new players to the board. Congratulations. Are you ready for the next question? I hope you are. Question 4, what percentage of people who conduct local search on their smartphone visit a business within 24 hours? That means I am looking for something on my phone. I see a product, that's great, but within the next day, I eventually decide to go to the physical store. This is important to understand how many people are being driven by all of our online marketing activity to purchase on the spot. How much do you think? We already have 300 answers. There we go. We have a couple of seconds left and time's gone. Oh, this was a bit more spread out. However, it is 78%. Do you think that was a bit more or less, depending on your answers? It is shocking to have such a big amount of the ads that we see on our phones to actually have a say and drive us to take an action on the actual store, which is actually pretty shocking, and we should be taking it into account. This is why we will talk about attribution and how to take advantage of these opportunities and behaviors from our clients. Now, I Must See, great job, followed by Guru and Jay Fish, Max Lead and Benno. You can still do it. And we're off to the last question before we start going through the content of attribution measurement and before we declare a winner. So be ready. And we have the following. Continue to the previous question, what percentage of those searches resulted in purchase? Because out of those that already saw the ad on the phone and went to the store, how many actually bought something? How many decided to engage with your product or service? What do you think? Most of them, just a bit. You have 8, 31, 28, or 13%. Let's give you a couple more seconds to decide. We're almost there. 3, 2, 1, and done. It is 28%. it is fantastic to know that all the activity you're carrying online, it is actually bringing people to the store and getting them to buy your product or service. Are you ready to look at the leaderboard? Prepare, drum roll. And congratulations, girl. You came from, I think, like third and second place to lead the way. Fantastic. Benno, you did it. Second place. Great job. And then Z, congratulations, you came in third place. Thank you, everybody, for engaging in this little quiz to get us prepped and warmed up for what we're going to discuss today. I'm going to go back to the content now. Once again, congratulations to everybody who engaged in the quiz. Now, what's next? We will go through a little introduction to attribution and attribution models. Before anything else, let's take a step back and put this new user behavior in perspective. For example, when is the last time you booked a vacation? And think about if you did it all in one big search session or on one device. Chances are it probably occurred across multiple devices, right? These super fragmented, complex journeys are not uncommon in today's world. In fact, your customers may be following similar paths before converting on your site, like the one we're seeing right now. Somebody may be looking up for best summer holiday destinations, and they were doing it during their commute, and they thought of Mallorca. Why not? Let's think about it. This is on a Sunday. A day passes, no activity related to that topic, but then on Tuesday, you searched bed and breakfast Mallorca. You're already looking to stay somewhere for your trip, and you find an option called Little Palm Tree Bed and Breakfast. Immediately, the day after, you still want to engage in more activity, so you met your travel companion for dinner and you looked for Little Palm Tree Bed and Breakfast because you wanted to show this person pictures. You're engaged, you're really going for more information. You want to make sure you're right in your decision. This is not done overnight. Thursday, you sleep on it, that's great, but then on Friday over lunch, then you decide to book this bed and breakfast, you have your dates, and you book. This is only one of the many paths that your customers are going through. And as you can see, it goes through different devices, it spans different days, and it can get challenging. As we were saying, this is already involving several touch points along the customer journey. We know it is crucial for our customers to understand the real contribution of each step along that journey to make better decisions based on such data. And we also know that it can be challenging to gather this information and understand it. In order to go forward, let's ensure the basics are set right and start by defining what is an attribution model. An attribution model is a solution to get a better handle of the customer conversion process and the value attached to each conversion. These models are allowing marketers to measure across all the different touch points we were just discussing that are involved in the customer journey. And this is going to help you identify the moments that really matter. Maybe asking yourself, how is this done? Well, sophisticated math is applied to customer data, and consumers and companies actually look for these results to glean the true contribution of their marketing investments. When we talk about attribution models, we must consider two elements. First, measurement, and second, attribution. While they may sound really similar, it is very important to clarify the distinction between these two. First, measurement is the collection of data of how your user behaves. Based on their past interactions and conversions, that is measurement. And second, you have attribution, which is essentially giving credit where credit is due. This is about the distribution of the conversion credit and spread across all the touch points that are going through in the behavior of your user. Now, if we refine our first attribution model definition, we can complete it by saying that it is the set of rules that is determining how the credit will be assigned to the different touchpoints along the customer journey. There are several attribution models at your disposal, and we will discuss them along this live stream in a bit more detail. What attribution will do is to help you connect the dots and go from thinking of your customers' actions as isolated interactions spread all over and enable you to see it as a whole while you understand the benefit of each of your marketing efforts. For example, take this other sample customer journey to book a holiday, and I look forward to your opinion on the chat. Which interaction do you think is responsible for the final purchase? What do you think? I'll give you some time. Do you think it's the first one, the second one, a mix between a couple of them, the last one? Let us know. And then we will discuss how we can evaluate these touch points and understand which one we should be crediting value to. Fantastic. Now, for the people who thought that the first click initiated the purchasing process, think about it if it was you. Others will think, hey, the last click was the real valuable interaction because it is the final interaction before the purchase. So there are different schools here, because other people will say, hey, and the middle clicks actually connected everything, so they are very valuable. The key thing here is we need to be fair. We must be giving credit where credit is due. So how do we attribute value in a fair manner? Before answering that question, let's look at another example, now related to the online purchase of, example, Nexus 9 tablets. If you use the attribution model called last click, all the credit will go to the last keyword, which in this case is Nexus 9 tablet. And since we have 12 conversions, we're going to attribute 100% of those 12 conversions to that last touch point. Essentially, what we're saying is that the two previous user interactions did not contribute towards the user buying that tablet. Now, do you think that that is fair or actually correct, that the other two touch points didn't have any impact nor they influence the decision in any way? The truth is that if we select to attribute value by using a last click attribution model, we're completely missing out on an opportunity to leverage a much, much larger market. For example, if we consider the Nexus 9 tablet market, we have here that it could potentially be up to 200 million, right? But then if you go and check the market related to that second keyword, which was highly rated tablets, the opportunity increases greatly to 2 billion. Now take even another step back and think of the market available for keywords such as great tech gifts, which can be up to 20 billion market available for you if you decide to give credit where credit is due. Therefore, in order to take advantage of such opportunities we just discussed, we will focus today on AdWords Attribution. AdWords Attribution has certain capabilities at the moment. It is able to consider the activity on Google search. It does cross-device attribution. And also it is integrated with automating bidding and so on. And it has certain requirements for use, which is just having your conversion data set in place, conversion tracking, and importing your information from Google Analytics as well, the goals and transactions. Talking about cross-device attribution, customer journeys are becoming harder and harder to measure, as we've discussed earlier, and optimize, and just it's really hard to cope with that, as clients are increasingly transitioning between devices before converting. Why is understanding conversions across devices so important? We've mentioned it a couple of times. We mentioned it in the quiz. What's its relevance? In fact, it's very easy. It turns out that more than half of all web traffic is now coming from smartphones and tablets, which is why we as advertisers cannot afford to not know more about how our clients are behaving between different screens. After our quiz, we now know that 3 out of 4 adults that are online start an activity on one of their devices, but continue or finalize it on another. Advertisers face 2 key challenges in measurement and attribution with traditional last click, last device attribution models. First, a last click model attributes all value to the last touchpoint in the conversion path, which is usually lower funnel keywords and devices, while upper funnel keywords and devices receive no credit whatsoever for initiating or even assisting a conversion. The second challenge that we're facing is a last device model cannot measure the complexity of cross-device consumer behavior, where ad clicks occur on one device and the conversion occurs on another. The good news is we have a solution. And with the AdWords cross-device activity reports, advertisers get the information they need to better understand the consumer behavior across devices and to put insights into action with attribution modeling. These reports will help you move beyond last click and last device attribution. Conversion tracking has evolved from single device conversion tracking, where only the last ad click and device is captured, to cross-device conversion tracking, where advertisers can measure conversions that occur on a different device than where the ad click happened. The new cross-device activity reports in AdWords Attribution enable advertisers to see cross-device activity leading up to conversions. They can take action on these insights by switching to a non-last click attribution model, which takes cross-device activity into account by default. So you don't have to worry about that. All set up. So what's new on the cross-activity reports besides from what we already had? Let me put it this way. Attribution reports show you the paths customers take to complete a conversion and attribute the conversion to different ad clicks and impressions along the way. Cross-device conversions show you when a customer interacted with an ad on one device and then completed a conversion on another device. Now, cross-device attribution, these reports are going to combine these 2 tools to give you even more insight into how people interact with your ads. These reports show you when a customer's path to conversion includes clicks or impressions on ads on multiple devices. Next, here are the key insights that you can gain from the 3 cross-device activity reports. 1, devices. 2, assisting devices. And 3, device paths. Let's start with the devices piece. The device report is about seeing how much cross-device activity is happening in your AdWords account. Here, you will be able to see the percentage of conversions that have activity that spans different devices, along with the number of conversions that happened on each of them. This will show per device where the ad interaction took place. Next, assisting devices will provide you information on the times where a certain device assisted a conversion. And you will be able to obtain this per campaign, ad group, or keyword. Now, for example, if you learn that a campaign receives many mobile assist clicks, you may want to increase your mobile bid adjustment for that campaign to potentially get even more clicks that assist conversions. And lastly, device paths. This report will essentially examine the top conversion paths for your customers using 2 or more devices. As you can see on the right, they are rather short and they will show you from mobile to desktop or from desktop and eventually completing the conversion there. In order for you to benefit of these data insights found in the 3 new reports we just discussed, we strongly suggest you follow the best practices around conversion tracking and how to set it up to ensure you're getting the best out of it. These best practices, well, some of them are right on the screen. I'll give you some time to breeze through them so you can take notes and have them present for the time that you need them, and ensure your team is following them. Fantastic. Now it's time to ask ourselves, how are your experiences? How is your customer interacting with you? And how are you measuring cross-device activity so far in those? We have a question from the audience already. This is great to know. I'm getting a question from Tanya. Hey, nice to meet you. And Tanya's asking if I will show you how to make the report. Not necessarily, I won't teach you how to make it, but we will do a deep dive, Tanya, on each of them at the very end. So if you want to know more about the metrics that we are showing, what do they mean, and how can you transform numbers into insights, that we will go through at the end of this live stream. I'm glad we're going to be able to go through that. Fantastic, thank you. I understand that it's amazing it's really beneficial to have hands-on trainings. And what I want to share with you today is just whenever you do it in the new AdWords experience, you need to click on the tool icon in the upper right. This is also useful for Tanya. And then other measurement, you select attribution. So you can get access to that. Great. Now that you have the data, it is important to ensure you assimilate it and take action on it. The truth is, most advertisers are not fully aware of the amount of customers that go through their different devices before getting to that conversion. Ignoring this behavior leads to campaign optimization that does not consider cross-device behavior, and therefore it is not as effective as it should be, or as it can be. As you can imagine, cross-device behavior changes across countries, verticals, etc. For example, in Germany, the percentage of conversion paths with cross-device activity ranges from 11% to 33%, depending on the industry. Now, in the technology industry, we see that 30% on offline conversions driven by Google search have a prior Google search interaction on another device. From a consumer perspective, this could mean seeing a non-brand search ad on mobile, but purchasing only after clicking on a brand search ad on desktop. For those who want to go back on any of the concepts we're discussing today, it is possible to have a look at the live stream later. If you need to leave or you just want to go through the concepts again, you're able to do so. Next, as I was saying, Tanya, we will do a brief deep dive on understanding the devices reports. Now, to talk about this one in particular, the devices report contains a very useful metric to show the significance of cross-device behavior. This is the percentage of conversions that have cross-device activity. Let's start with discussing conversion scope. You're going to see it at the very left, and on the animation, it's on top, right? And top left, excuse me. And this enables you to choose which conversions are included in their reports. You can choose all conversions or conversions. Please note that the default is all conversions. In order to explain a bit more on this one is, all conversions is going to calculate the conversions that AdWords drives for your business. It will include conversions where the ad click was on the same device, same or different device of the conversion. Next, we have a history window. This determines which impressions and clicks are taken into account prior to a conversion. And increasing the conversion window will capture more device touchpoints that occur early in the path to a conversion. We also have based on clicks or based on impressions. This allows you to view cross-device behavior for specific conversion actions. For all conversion actions you've included in the conversions column, or for all conversion actions overall. Next, if you go to the conversion action itself, this is shown next to the conversion scope. The default setting is based on clicks, and this shows cross-device activity based on ad clicks across devices. But if you choose the setting based on impressions, this shows a cross-device activity based on ad clicks and impressions. You can use the device paths report to show advertisers how consumers have transitioned from one device to another before converting, and to convince them to switch to an attribution model that can dynamically give fractional credit to touch points across devices. We have a question from Julia, and Julia is asking, will this report look at all types of Google ad, or will it focus on AdWords? In this one, as we were saying before, we're talking about Google Attribution, what we have at the moment. So this is focusing on AdWords. Now we're going to review some device paths in detail. For example, here on the screen, we have a number of common journeys. There at the top of the report, this is what you will get. And you will see that these journeys are usually very short. For example, we have mobile to desktop. On the other one, you can have somebody initiating that activity on desktop, then mobile, and then jumping to desktop again. We know some users feel more comfortable finalizing that purchase on the desktop. This happens. And we're aware of that. We just want to make sure we allow you to take benefit of it. And it also happens that, as we were saying here on path number 3, you start on desktop and then you go walk away for a while, but you still finish the activity or the conversion, you accomplish it there. Justina, is this available worldwide already? Thanks for asking. In most markets, to my knowledge, we should have it up and running. But in order to make sure that this is available in your market specifically, Justina, because we have a lot of people right now logged into our live stream. As we saw on the quiz, we had a lot of people. So what I recommend is just making sure that you go to the Help Center and confirm that it's all up and running for your market, but it should be definitely up for most of it. Fantastic. Next. Device paths in detail. In most cases, common cross-device journeys start on mobile and they end on desktop or tablet, as we were saying before, but they aren't always linear. Take a look at the right of this screen. You can start, and this is path number 5, for example. You can start on your mobile, you're looking for that vacation, but then you go to your desktop to see more pictures. But then you go back to your mobile just while you were waiting for something, you were on the queue, and then you finalize on desktop. This is getting very complicated to understand, to measure where is the real value. So this is a report that will allow you to understand that better, to act on it. With this new assisting devices report in AdWords Attribution, advertisers can gain visibility into the different devices that make up a user's cross-device conversion path and get a full view of device performance across the conversion path. This is a snapshot of the assisting devices report, and it is showing 2 key metrics of each device. You will have assist ratios and assist conversions. Let's walk through those in a bit more detail. The assist ratio is that ratio of click-assisted conversions to last-click conversions for each device type. These ratios help you to identify which device touchpoints are more likely to assist or help the conversions and which are more likely to be that last click. And the last-click conversions and click-assisted conversions that are generated by each type of device. You will have them at the bottom of the screen in that column. Demonstrating the value of upper funnel versus lower funnel devices has historically been challenging. We know this is something our advertisers want to know more about and get help on how to showcase that value. And now, with this, you have a tool to help you showcase its real potential. And below here on the slide, you have an example. Imagine you have the mobile assist ratio of 0.72 versus the desktop assistant ratio of 0.46. What does this mean? That mobile was an assisting touchpoint for 0.72 conversions at the last click device for 0.28 conversions. That's great, but then you need to interpret it. And because now you know that the mobile assist ratio is 57% higher than what you have on the desktop, this means that mobile is having more of an upper funnel activity than the other device you're comparing it to. Therefore, a last click attribution model is likely going to undervalue and not consider at all the efforts and actually the usefulness of mobile in this conversion journey. So now that you have the data, you interpreted it, it's time to take action. What you should do is ensure here that mobile gets a credit for its contributions to conversions as an upper funnel touchpoint. We're helping here with this more generic keywords upper funnel, and the recommendation is to shift to a non-last click attribution model so you can understand this better. And as we were saying, act on it. Next, a pro tip for you. Assist ratios and cross-device behavior typically differ at greater levels of granularity. We mentioned that you can choose this at the campaign, ad group level, even geographic level. And you can use the drill down menu to find potential pockets of opportunity or to show even more granular cross-device performance to your clients. As we've been saying consistently during this live stream, you could have all the data, all the information, but you need to act on it. Therefore, review the mobile assist ratio and the desktop assist ratio from your most important client. Once you have that, interpret it and make sure that you can implement useful actions to take benefit from the insights that you're obtaining. Next, attribution models. The easiest and most dynamic way for them to capture and act on the cross-device activity is to change their attribution model to a non-last click. There are various attribution models, and we have 6 in total. We have last click, which is going to give you 100% of that value, that credit, to the last click before the conversion. You have the second model, which is first click, 100% of the first interaction where your customer knew about you, clicked on the ad, and engaged with you. Time decay is a model that will spread the credit depending on how close it was to the conversion. So it will consider the last one very important, but it will not disregard the other interactions that the user had. Anya is asking us if the data is only based on account level, or is it possible to get insights in campaign level? The reports can be, as we were saying before, Anya, done at campaign, ad group, you can get very granular. So this should give you more insights on this. So we were on time decay, which will be attributing more value to the last one, but without disregarding the other touch points. Linear will attempt to give everybody some sort of credit, and it will give along the touch points a lot of credit equally. Next, we have the position-based, which will split the credit this way. It will give you 40% for the first click, 40% for the last click, and all the rest distributed in the middle, 20%. So valuing how the user got to engage with you first, that conversion, and giving some sort of credit to those touch points that, in our example at the beginning, we're connecting those two. And the most effective one, data-driven. This is not going to be rule-based. This is not an estimation. This is information gathering from what is actually happening. While we have already breezed through the 6 attribution models, we want you to get away from last click and first click if you want to have valuable data that is serving you. If you select any of these 2 models, you are completely disregarding all the other activity and beneficial touch points that your customer is going through and that are actually leading to that conversion. Therefore, we suggest that we use the other ones. In fact, definitely we want you to go and try, if available, the data-driven attribution solution. The data-driven model leverages your account data, as well as Google's machine learning capabilities to determine which user touchpoint is most influential, which of them are playing in this game, which are giving you value. Once it does that, it allocates credit based on the actual contribution of each keyword across the user path. And even better, This is not done just once in a lifetime, but it is getting smarter. It learns and adjusts over time based on your performance. We often see that people start their purchase journey by searching generic. Even think about your own behavior. This happens. And then later on, when they have learned about you, they will search for your brand term. Therefore, be sure to attribute credit to all touch points to understand the full spectrum of your client's behavior. Also, consider that choosing your attribution model mostly depends on your growth strategy. Why? Well, by giving more credit to the later touch points, you are optimizing your ads for users that already know your brand and your brand name. And in this way, time decay is a good option if you want to deepen your relationship with new customers. We're giving recommendations here because data-driven attribution has some requirements. I'm going to mention them in a second, but we want to give you some pointers as to which other modules could fit what you're looking for in order to attribute value. We're still going to recommend, in some cases, position-based attribution. Why? Because you can give more credit to the ad click that starts the purchase path, which is often a generic click, as we were saying before, upper funnel. Next, did you know? Oh, sorry, Tanya, how many conversions do you need for data-driven? Excellent question. I have a slide covering that. I'll be there in a second. Next, the average person. Did you know that we click on about 4 different search ads before converting? This makes it really challenging to assign the proper credit where it's due over the average 4-click conversion path. Last click attribution, which is the default choice in AdWords, ignores 3 out of those 4 potential search clicks, just not taking them into consideration at all. As marketers, it is crucial to understand which of those clicks are the most impactful so you can invest where it will make the most difference. Just so you know, to complement on the magic of data-driven attribution, it relies, as we were saying, on machine learning technology. And this is a way it's determining how much credit to assign to each click in the user journey. DDA, or data-driven attribution, was introduced to AdWords back in 2016 in May. And since that time, we've been studying how it affects performance. And recent analysis of hundreds of advertisers using this model is revealing exactly how much performance improved when compared to last click attribution. And it turns out that when compared to last click attribution, data-driven attribution typically delivers 5% more conversions at a similar cost per conversion. So for search, data-driven attribution is a way better manner to measure and optimize performance than last click. This is why we recommend the data-driven model in AdWords to all eligible advertisers. This is our official, our recommendation. So whenever you have it available, go for it, simply because it's the most powerful. It is analyzing what your data, what your customers do, and what they're revealing. Next, let's get started with data-driven attribution models. This is our last section. Because eligibility for data-driven attribution is determined by the data for each conversion action, you may see data-driven attribution for some of your website and Google Analytics conversion actions, and not for others. Here, answering Tanya's question, for DDA or data-driven attribution, you need at least 15,000 clicks, and conversion action must have at least 600 conversions within the last 30 days. This is because we need to study a considerate amount of data to determine patterns, because this is how data-driven attribution works. I find it amazing that it studies both converting and non-converting paths to give us the information that we're looking for. Let me go into detail a bit more on that to understand how data-driven attribution works. This is important to keep going and really understand why we are suggesting that you use this one if it is available for you. One second, I'm reading a question from Spades Media. Nice to have you here. If a client is over both the click and conversion levels, but data-driven is not available, is that a bug? Oh, this is a very interesting question. Thank you, Spades Media. We must remember that this needs to be consistent and for a period of 30 days. I wonder if you have had, maybe in an account, you have met the thresholds, but the data-driven attribution model is not showing up. Please first allow and ensure that it's been going through the 30 days time span. And if it's not showing up, I invite you to contact our support teams to make sure that everything's fine. I wouldn't assume immediately that that's a bug. I wonder if it's meeting exactly the requirements in a consistent manner. Excellent. Thank you for the question. Let's go through how data-driven attribution uses your data to determine how each keyword is impacting the user's likelihood to convert. Example, we're going to have these two conversion paths. Let's look at the one on the left first. You have user John looking for great tech gifts. That is his first action. Next, John looked for highly rated tablets online. Fantastic. And then as a touchpoint number C, just ABC, John looked for Nexus 9 tablet and then he converted. And not only John converts using this path, but actually for all the people that are following this journey, 3% of them are converting and they're buying that product. Now let's look at the second path on the right, where people are just starting by looking for highly rated tablets. Fantastic. They did not look for great tech gifts in the first place. They just didn't. Then after highly rated tablets, they looked up online more information about Nexus 9 tablet, and then they converted. It turns out that when people follow the second path without the great tech gifts, only 2% of the people are finalizing that purchase, which means that actually point A is helping us greatly and is getting up 1% our conversion rate. And this is how data-driven attribution is working, as we were saying, looking at both converting and non-converting paths to understand the information that is being gathered. Fantastic. There's a key thing to remember about this model. The data-driven attribution and this way of attributing credit is not static. As we were saying before, this model is adapting to changes that might alter the click path, like the expansion of generic keywords. This is really good to be aware of because we know that there's a very interesting percentage of searches we have never seen before being done at Google. Just new things coming up, people being interested in different matters. And the data-driven attribution model is going to help you to keep up with that because it's constantly looking for the information and it's not just done once and staying like that forever, but it is adapting. In fact, there are some advantages that I would like to share with you and benefits of using data-driven attribution. Let's breeze through them. Advertisers using rules-based attribution, like the other models we saw before, are all about simplicity and incremental progress, which is great. Instead of relying on elaborate models to assign credit, they build and test individual rules that help to explain how their marketing channels work together. But the benefit of the data-driven model versus all these other advantages from the other rule-based ones is that data-driven attribution is algorithmic, personalized, and automated. You don't need to do anything else. It's taking the information not only of what could happen, but what is really taking place, how your users are behaving. So to browse through some other benefits and advantages, the data-driven one, as we said, it has dynamic algorithms versus the static nature of the rule-based models. Data-driven, and within the data scope, it is converting and non-converting paths into account. I find that fantastic. I love that we're taking all the information we have in order to have an educated decision-making process. Whereas the rules-based is only going to consider the paths where the person actually converted. It won't give you that other insight. On the personalization side, the data-driven, it's 100% personalized because of one very simple reason. It is your data and only yours. And we're going to educate the system based on that input. Whereas a rule-based one, you can choose the model, but you cannot personalize it further at all. Scalability. Regarding data-driven, as we were saying, this is regularly updated based on changes in the account, and it cannot be applied to historical data. And the rules-based one, it must be revisited regularly and can be applied to historical data, which is one of the questions we had before, so happy we provided the answer here. Sophie's asking, are there still circumstances or certain campaigns where you would use first click or last click? Sophie, thank you for your question. Let me put it this way. If you had several points of data, or you had just different people giving you their opinion, if you were just to neglect 4 out of the 5 people you had in front of you and just not pay attention to that information, you're missing out. And that is what first click and last click models are doing. Therefore, if you have data-driven attribution available for your campaigns, definitely go for that. And even if you don't have it available, Sophie, I would really recommend that you consider either the other models, either position-based or even linear or time decay. Why? You're still going to have in your customer journeys several touch points all the time. And we really recommend that you take all the information you can get so you can make as we were saying, the most educated decision-making process. If not, you're just disregarding that piece. Fantastic. Also, we had a question from agency asking if linear attribution worked on past data. Here on the graph, we see that rule-based models do take into consideration historical data, while data-driven is just working with what it has right now, and it's iterating based on that. We're getting lots of questions. I'll read through the content to make sure we make it on time, but this has been very valuable. Let's keep going. Thank you very much. Next, about getting started with data-driven attribution. Because we have another question from Loyal saying, what is the second recommendation after DDA? Oh, excuse me, let me elaborate on that. Loyals, good point. If I don't have data-driven attribution, what do I do? It depends on the product, on the customer journey. So there's no immediate, oh, this is your second option definitely to go for, but rather how your business behaves. If you're going for aggressive growth, for example, or if you're more traditional. If you're more traditional, you can attempt to use time decay. Whereas if you're going more for an aggressive strategy, it's very important for you to consider that first connection with the customer and when they actually convert. Therefore, the best way to go is analyze how your strategy looks like and test. This is the best way to go if you don't have data-driven attribution available. So, getting started with data-driven attribution, there are 5 suggestions and actually steps to go through in order to test data-driven attribution. We know it can feel challenging at first, but actually if you follow these steps, this is going to go just very smoothly. First, you're going to establish a control period to make sure you are considering just that piece. Second, you should update your attribution model. Very easy to go into your AdWords account. If you need information on the steps, you can find it on our Help Center article. You need to update your bids. Monitor your testing. As we were saying, you just need to go and try it out and evaluate the performance. Let me go through these steps in slightly more detail. Establishing a control period. As you prepare to test, you need to identify your time lag. Time lag is the number of days between the first click and when the user converts. This is going to tell you which time periods to omit when analyzing the results of your test. The time lag buffer should be half the conversion window. For example, imagine the attribution window right now is 30 days. Therefore, the control period you should set is 15 days. And when you're ready to start, begin by going 2 weeks without making any major changes. You need to be patient. You need to wait for the time lag buffer to pass, also without making any major changes so the system can learn and really implement with whatever it's experiencing right now. Next, update your attribution model. Next, just as we were saying, you simply click on updating the attribution model. Don't forget to update your bits as well. This is how it looks like for you to update the model. As we see, this account has DataDriven available with showing on top, and we definitely recommend you going for that one. As you update how you attribute conversions, you'll need to update your bits. Step 3, because the change in model implies a change in bits. Therefore, you should be aligning bidding strategies to CPA or ROAS for all your campaigns and not just one at a time. Attribution models are assigned at the conversion type level. This is important to remember. Fourth, monitor your tests. You're going to be updating your model, your bids, that's great. And remember to wait 4 weeks plus the time lag buffer we just mentioned without making any changes. This is also ensuring that after the performance is stable, you can collect enough data to work with that new attribution model. And the 5th step was evaluating performance. Measure your tests based on both volume and efficiency of all your campaigns affected by this change. Once your test period ends, wait for the time lag to elapse. And this will give you the complete picture of your conversions. Then what you should do is compare the initial 2 weeks excluding the time lag buffer with the most recent 2 weeks excluding the time lag buffer. You can do this by comparing the conversions of the current model and the cost per conversions of the current model columns for the test period with the control period. You're just going to be contrasting these 2 elements. Also, look for increases in conversions at the same CPA or in revenue at the same ROAS. These recommendations we just went through also apply for rule-based models. Therefore, if you're just changing, example as we were asked before, I'm trying to determine which model is good for me, I don't have access to DDA or data-driven attribution, just give the model some time to adapt, to understand, and just gather enough data for you to make an educated decision. And we want to share with you how to maximize the value of data-driven attribution with these 3 tips. It's about considering using automated bidding, aligning ads and landing pages with the click path, and re-examining early influence keywords. Remember, this is all about giving credit where credit is due. Therefore, we want to make sure that if there's something in the upper funnel helping you, that we get to that. Maximizing the value of data-driven attribution with these pieces. Let's go to the first one, considering automated bidding. When you update the way that you're counting your conversions, you need to think of this as an opportunity to change the way you're also managing your bids. Think about the following. If you're doing it manually at the moment, how much time are you investing in changing that? And do you think you could use this time in a more strategic way that actually helps you drive more revenue from another angle? Not just changing bids, let's just allow the system to do that automatically and taking into account all the other signals that are out there, and that is simply more efficient. Next, on aligning the ads and the landing pages with the click path, this step, you can think of it as just having these types of interactions as inspirational landing pages instead of the typical transactional page. Example, we can think that whenever the user is looking for Nexus 9 tablets, like in our previous example, you want them already to be on the page where they can buy. And that makes sense for that stage of the customer journey. Whereas if you think of the search of highly rated tech gifts, so the great gifts to give around technology or some sort, you don't necessarily go to the landing page to buy. You want to be inspired. So if you work on understanding that real customer journey and have your landing page match with the feeling that comes on that stage of the purchasing funnel, this can be way more impactful, because you're going to be like digitally empathizing with the customer and understanding what do they need right now and providing that. And lastly, we have the step of re-examining your early influence keywords. Let's look at this example. You can start with looking up passport renewal. You don't necessarily look that up thinking of buying or booking a vacation now, do you? But what if the next search was travel destinations? That's getting a bit closer. You still want to get inspired. You're not looking for a specific place, but you want to know more. Next, you look for hotels in Italy. Definitely more country specific. You're getting there. And finally, Tuscan villas in July. You're ready to go to book and make that conversion. If you're able to consider the upper funnel keywords and understand the value they're bringing to your business, this is going to change greatly. And the last pro tip we want to give here is the following. It is important to evaluate early influence keywords you may have cut from your account. Because if you didn't have these insights before, you could have thought, okay, passport renewal, definitely not useful. But if you implement these suggestions and you apply what we've discussed today, you may find out that this is actually influencing your customers, and you want to include that. I want to thank you very much for joining us in the live stream today. Across the quiz, across the questions and the content, it's been a pleasure. And we've run out of time. Therefore, I want to thank you once more for being with us and encourage you to apply all this knowledge around measurement and attribution to your accounts and help your customers better. My name is Larissa Verduzco, and I want to thank you again. See you next time.